Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Friday, October 28, 2022. I am Timothy Jaikran. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Probe launched and widespread condemnation of SOCU'S arrest of lawyer who told client to stay silent. Many candidates propose for CHARRANDASS PERSAUD'S replacement, says President Ali. Government instructs NIS to pay dialysis patients entitled benefits. Salvation Army's Christmas kettle opens with $1.5 million from government, and private sector needs access to skilled, unskilled labor immediately, says GCCI head. Now for the news in detail. The Guyana Police Force's Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU, today came under fire for arresting a female attorney-at-law after she advised her client to exercise the right to remain silent in an ongoing investigation. In our lead story tonight, Vanu Maningchan reports that Office of the Professional Responsibility has been instructed to investigate the matter, even as the lawyer in question has announced her intention to sue SOCU for false detention.
At about 10 hours on Friday, attorney-at-law Tamika Clark was arrested and placed in custody by ranks of SOCU for advising her client to exercise his constitutional right to remain silent. This followed a threat earlier this week that the lawyer would be arrested if her client does not give a statement on a matter SOCU is investigating. However, following the intervention of Attorney General Anil Nandal, Attorney Clark was subsequently released.
In my capacity as the constitutional legal advisor to the police force, I called Mr. Karim Baksh and inquired of the circumstances surrounding the alleged detention of Ms. Tamika Clark, and he offered an explanation. In that explanation, of course, he confirmed that Ms. Clark was being detained. I advised Mr. Karim Baksh to immediately release Ms. Clark from police custody. I spoke with Ms. Clark and I informed her of my intervention and my advice, and I offered my apologies as a colleague of the bar for the unfortunate incident.
This newscast understands that Clark, who previously served in the Director of Public Prosecution's DPP chambers, will be taking legal actions against SOCU over this incident, which has been publicly condemned by the legal fraternity. Both the Guyana Bar Association and the Guyana Association of Women Lawyers have issued calls for the Guyana Police Force to apologize to Clark and also launch an investigation into the matter. The GBA said, quote, "The Bar Association unreservedly and unequivocally condemns the actions of the Guyana Police Force. Such action is disturbing, perverse, unlawful, oppressive, and wholly unacceptable. The Bar Association, inclusive of its Criminal Bar Committee, do not take this matter lightly and will take all the necessary steps to ensure that our members can exercise their professional duties without intimidation and that the rule of law is upheld." End quote. Meanwhile, the GAWL stated, quote, "SOCU by their actions intimidated Ms. Clark and prevented her from executing her duties to her client. At no time should an attorney-at-law be fearful of executing his or her duties. The attorney-at-law advising her client that he has a right to remain silent during an interview is not outside of the scope of the law." End quote. The Guyana Police Force has since issued a statement saying that the Office of Professional Responsibility has since been instructed to launch an investigation into the matter. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Maningchan.
There have been complaints that the National Insurance Scheme NIS has been refusing to reimburse some dialysis patients for the cost of their treatment following the introduction of the government's $600,000 grant. But Senior Minister with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, explaining that this financial assistance is meant to be additional support, has since instructed NIS to ensure that these patients are paid their entitlements without any conditions attached. Vanu Maningchan joins us again with the details.
In Budget 2022, the Guyana government announced a 600,000 grant per annum for dialysis patients. On Thursday, Finance Minister Dr. Ashni Singh revealed he received complaints from some dialysis patients that certain NIS locations are refusing to grant their claims for reimbursement until they utilize the 600,000 cash grant being offered by the government. According to Dr. Singh, this grant was intended to be additional support for the patients and should not be used as a basis for persons being denied their legitimate benefits from the NIS.
I had a meeting with the senior management of the NIS today, and I made it crystal clear that the government's $600,000 grant for dialysis patients is intended to be an additional support to dialysis patients and was never intended to result in patients being denied their NIS benefits. The intention was always by the government to provide additional support and not to provide support, this grant, and then take it away through another institution of state. And so I made this very clear to the senior management of NIS that the $600,000 grant provided by government for dialysis treatment is additional to whatever was being enjoyed by persons who have paid their NIS over the years and who are entitled to some degree of NIS support.
Minister Singh explained that this grant was introduced in light of government's recognition of the severe challenges faced by persons undergoing dialysis treatment and the tremendous costs associated with that treatment, including associated medication and other expenditures.
Oftentimes patients require dialysis treatment twice, sometimes thrice a week, etc. And so recognizing this, we introduced this dialysis support program under which every single person receiving dialysis on a regular basis will get a grant of $600,000. It would be perverse to now turn around and penalize those people by taking away their NIS reimbursement for dialysis treatment simply on account of the introduction of this benefit.
Moreover, the finance minister outlined that these patients should not face such difficulties in accessing their contributions made to the NIS over the years.
I gave them very clear instructions that they are not to use the receipt of the $600,000 grant from government by any dialysis patient as the basis for denying any person who is otherwise legitimately entitled to support from the NIS for the purposes of dialysis.
Meanwhile, persons who continue to encounter issues in claiming their NIS benefits are asked to contact the Finance Ministry. A total of $180 million was allocated in the 2022 budget to support some 300 persons in need of dialysis treatment. Reporting for the Evening News, Vanu Manakchand.
Days after Guyana's High Commissioner to India, CHARRANDASS was recalled following video evidence of him verbally abusing a woman at his official residence, President Dr. Irfan Ali has posited that the integrity of Guyana is paramount. He has thus informed that many names have been proposed as replacement for this diplomat. Rupa Sinarain has the details.
Speaking with the media on Friday, the Guyanese head of state was questioned on the current issue regarding now former High Commissioner to India, CHARRANDASS, who served as Guyana's High Commissioner to Sri Lanka. The president had previously addressed the issue in a video statement earlier this week, where he announced that Persaud would be recalled for his conduct. With the position now vacant, President Ali said many requests have been submitted for the post. Reports are that the incident occurred some 1 year ago. In the video making its rounds on social media, Persaud, while standing at the gate of his residence in India, is heard speaking in a profane manner to a woman. It was reported that Persaud himself had informed the Ministry of External Affairs in India of the incident and was fully investigated. To this end, the Foreign Affairs Ministry in Georgetown said in a missive on Tuesday that it considered this matter closed. When asked whether he was misled by the Foreign Affairs Ministry, Ali responded in the negative.
Absolutely no one misled me. I've made a statement. I've done what was the right thing to do. And we, at the end of the day, the integrity of Guyana and the best representation of Guyana is what matters to me in a respectful manner to all. women, children, all, and that is what matters. So no one misled me in any way. The first time I saw the video was when I said I saw the video. That's the first time a video surfaced of anything. In my conversation with Mr. Charrandass, he said that is not the full extent of the video. I also made that full disclosure.
President Ali had initially stated earlier this week that Persaud has agreed to accept full responsibility for his actions and will return home. Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
Attorney General Anil Nandalal has praised Guyana's Court of Last Resort, the Caribbean Court of Justice, for its highly commendable rulings on matters in particular, those of a high constitutional nature and on politically tense issues. He made the comment while addressing a law seminar organized by the law faculty of the University of the West Indies Cave Hill campus to discuss rulings made by the Caribbean region's two apex courts, namely the CCJ and the Privy Council. Fiona Morrison has this story.
The United Kingdom's Privy Council did not agree with the reasoning of the CCJ in a trilogy of decisions, namely Nervis versus R, a case from Barbados, and McEwen versus the Attorney General of Guyana, and Marcus Bisram versus the Director of Public Prosecutions, both cases from Guyana. According to Nandalal, the fundamentally different approaches to the interpretation of the Savings Law Clause taken by the courts in these matters have to do with several factors, including interpretation, jurisprudential rationale, and philosophy. The Savings Law Clause is a common feature of the constitutions of former British colonies, including Guyana, which was included at independence to provide continuity of the law during a transitionary period. The Savings Law Clause of the Constitution of Guyana is found in Article 152.
Both the CCJ and the Privy Council have arrived at highly tenable, highly attractive, and highly commendable positions. It's a question of philosophy, jurisprudence, how one sees oneself as a final court. As I said, one is distant and one is indigenous and a product of the environment. Perhaps, we all did jurisprudence. Those are the innate and intrinsic factors that are informing the difference in outlook and output. Certainly for Guyana not having a final Court of Appeal outside of Guyana since 1973 with the abolition of the Privy Council. This addition of the CCJ to our judicial structure has been revolutionary. The benefits that Guyanese have derived already from the CCJ is certainly immeasurable. In particular, when it comes to very, very important and controversial, well, not controversial, but highly tensed political issues, as the Caribbean would have recognized in recent time. And outside of that, in land law in particular, we had a great amount of equivocation and ambiguity and confusion in the area of land law, in particular Roman Dutch law. Those issues were completely clarified by the CCJ in a series of decisions. And in commercial litigation, there has been great clarity because of pronouncements, and certainly in constitutional matters and matters relating to election laws, the CCJ has clarified very, very crucial and highly contentious issues. So it has been a great blessing for Guyana and the people of Guyana, and we hope that it continues.
Apart from Guyana, the CCJ is also the final court of appeal for Barbados, Dominica, and Belize in civil and criminal matters. All the other Caribbean Community member states have retained the Privy Council.
Coming up, entities lauded for providing jobs to Guyanese under government's recruitment agency, and teachers to be trained in identifying supporting special needs children.
With unlimited games to choose from, you can be a winner with Superbet. Choose from our virtual sports, live betting, sports betting, live roulette, and much, much more. Place your bets at www.superbet.gy or visit any one of our agents. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 18 and over. Play responsibly.
The writers of this program are depending on my ethnic but non-threatening voice to explain things they are too lazy to set up traditionally. Only 2 months into the semester.
Marcus, I was watching that. What's the matter with you?
Noreen, why you have all these things plugged in, man? You really don't check them bills, you know? You know the cost of electricity?
Marcus, you can't be so ridiculous. That's the fridge. Why would you unplug the fridge?
I don't understand why the cost of electricity is so high in this country, man. Somebody has to do something.
Marcus, you know what I realize? Something is really wrong with you. How are we supposed to live without electricity?
Hello, just like our ancestors survived back in the days.
I will have you know, Marcus, Noreen Angela Melville is not cut out for that type of life.
And already the 9th Ivy League squads buzz with future Olympians and presidents.
Did you know the Gas to Energy project is expected to reduce the cost of electricity by up to 50%? Yes, that project will slash electricity bills in half. This will also unleash a tsunami of benefits for the manufacturing sector in Guyana.
Wow. Marcus, did you hear that? Electricity will be cheaper. Now, Marcus, for the love of God, plug the fridge back in.
For the admission.
Cheryl, girl, you won't believe. Sorry, I'm interrupting y'all.
Marla, I'm here taking the census.
Girl, you done got a husband already, huh?
Miss, I am a census taker, going door to door so that everyone can be interviewed and counted in the National Census 2022.
What is the census though?
Well, the Population and Housing Census is a count of the population and all the buildings every 10 years.
Getting counted transforms an entire nation.
From Region 1 to Region 10.
You know what? I believe our village needs a health center.
I think it needs some roads too. You see the man boots out there, how it's full of mud, eh?
That's why I'm asking Mrs. De Silva a few questions from our questionnaire. We record the answers and then the data is used to help shape the future of the country.
Oh, so the two y'all not...
Oh gosh.
Premier insurance coverage for less. Stay safe. For bid, performance, retention, advanced mobilisation or customs bonds, bond with us. Fuel your success. Call 223-0840 or visit premierinsurance.gy. Premier Insurance. Premier insurance coverage.
Poultry farmers, save money by cutting down the time it takes to pluck your chickens with the plucking machine from Sylvie's. Now available at affordable prices in 3 sizes: 500, 550 and 600 mm, 110 220 volts, 60 cycles, 1450 RPM. Replacement motors and the plucking fingers are also readily available right now at Sylvie's Variety Store, High and Hatfield Streets, Georgetown.
Welcome back. You're watching the evening news. The Salvation Army on Friday launched its annual Christmas appeal at the Georgetown Club with a first contribution of $1.5 million from the government to support this yearly worthy cause. Here's more from Rupa Sinarang.
The Christmas Kettle is a traditional initiative to raise funds to keep the Salvation Army's humanitarian work going. It is done annually throughout the world at Christmas, having first started in 1891 to assist those in need. The divisional commander of the Salvation Army expressed that the Christmas appeal is even more needed at this time, having seen an increasing demand in people in need. This has been a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, which resulted in grave economic hardship across the world.
After the severe hit of COVID-19 in the past 2 years, the demand to help others has been rising daily. The Salvation Army is seeing an increased demand from people in need. Due to the scars of COVID-19 and the rise of the cost of living in the whole world, the Christmas Kettle Appeal 2022 is now more important.
President Dr. Irfan Ali in his feature address expressed that giving should not be a seasonal activity. The president reminded that lifting humanity through giving should happen every day.
In this art of giving, it must be a way of life. It must be something that you believe in. It must be something that makes up your value system. It must be something that gives you pride and joy and honor when you give. And not when you give, you feel that you've lost something. Or when you give, you feel that you've taken away something from you. That is not giving. There's a big difference between giving and distributing.
In addition to the $1.5 million donated by government, support for this initiative also comes from private sector donors and other stakeholders. Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
Head of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Timothy Tucker, has lamented the severe labor shortage facing Guyana and has noted that the local private sector needs access to both skilled and unskilled labor immediately. Lawanda McAllister reports.
Earlier this year, Vice President Dr. Bar Jagdeo admitted that a labor shortage is an issue that was affecting the country, and he assured that the matter was being carefully examined by government. A Migration Policy Institute had estimated that Guyana will need over 150,000 more workers to keep up with its economic boom. An assessment by the World Bank also found that Guyana is experiencing an increasingly serious shortfall in its labor market. Weighing in on the issue during a recent event, President of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Timothy Tucker, acknowledged that the private sector is in dire need of competent workers.
As much as we try to deny that and we look at the numbers outside of it, we need workers. We need access to skilled laborers. The private sector needs access to skilled labor, unskilled labor, workers, competent workers, immediately.
In this regard, he encouraged the formulation of a national policy on labor.
One that looks for the labor or the skill shortage we have in Guyana, the ones that does not exist. We're not asking for persons to replace Guyanese workers. We will upskill and we will replace workers that we bring in once Guyanese have risen to that level, once we will be able to train them. But we cannot wait 5 to 10 years. We are 5 to 10 years behind. And if we don't address this, then we're going to be in a terrible place in terms of the private sector in this country.
He also said government needs to look at the possibility of allowing the thousands of migrants in the country to formally enter the workforce.
Find a way not to make them citizens of Guyana, but to have them formally come into the workforce, pay their fair share of taxes, their insurance, things that the employers are obligated to ensure that it happens. And so these are the things that we have to look at and see how we can get all the moving parts so that we can grow this country.
The GCCI head also suggested having students who are of a legal age to enter the workforce on a part-time basis.
Maybe we should start looking at what they do some parts of the world where you allow students that are going to school to enter the workforce at a younger age, not during work, school times, but on the weekends and part-time work.
Vice President Jagdeo had previously explained that while the government is looking at ways to fill the gaps in the local workforce, it must also ensure that Guyanese are not sidelined from opportunities. Lawanda McAllister, reporting for the Evening News.
The Ministry of Labor's Central Recruitment and Manpower Agency on Wednesday held an award ceremony to honor 25 companies that provided employment opportunities for Guyanese. Here are the details.
The awardees are Atlas Security Service, Betancourt Homestyle, Carnegie School of Home Economics, DeCinco Trading, Demerara Distillers Limited, Dr. Balwant Singh's Hospital, Edward B. Bihari Group of Companies, Food for the Poor Inc., Guyana Energy Agency, Guyana National Bureau of Standards, Guyana National Newspaper Limited, Guyana Post Office Corporation, Guybisco International Inc., KM Cleaning and Janitorial Service, R&M by Chandine, Vrish Gift Center and Variety Store, Sterling Products Inc., Summerson's Furniture Store, Tulsi Persaud Limited, Unicomer, Volunteer Youth Corps, WB Cleaning and Janitorial Services, Whiting and Richter, Wings Aviation, and Norbert Fordyce. These entities partnered with the Central Recruitment and Manpower Agency of the Ministry of Labor to offer employment for job seekers who may not have otherwise completed formal tertiary education in any specialized area. The Central Recruitment and Manpower Agency offers free employment services and it fills vacancies in clerical and office support, craft and related workers, plant and machinery, and skilled and semi-skilled workers. Speaking during the honoring ceremony, Labour Minister Joseph Hamilton lamented that Guyana's education system is seemingly only geared towards celebrating persons who excel only in academics.
We cannot seriously talk about manufacturing and technical jobs, and we have a larger percent of students entering university to do social science and a less percent doing natural science. So there are things we have to fix. We have to lay aside the conversation about what is clean jobs and what is dirty jobs. Those colonial hang-ups we still live with.
Notwithstanding, he thanked the entities on board for this initiative and expressed hope that the partnerships can evolve.
Maybe you can consider having a conversation with the Board of Industrial Training for us to utilize your facility to do apprenticeship scheme. That would help your business. And the point Mr. Pittam raised, where the turnover rate in businesses, apprenticeship scheme might help, because you're training the person to be the employee that you really want in your facility.
Meanwhile, the Central Recruitment and Manpower Agency launched the country's first national job bank in March to enable thousands of Guyanese to browse job opportunities from the comfort of their homes.
The Education Ministry will, in the new year, be introducing tools for teachers to identify children with special education needs using a structured approach that allows them to benefit from specialized services. Details in this Rupasino report.
The Regional Special Education Needs Disability Diagnostic and Treatment Center is responsible for identifying, treating, and preventing disabilities across countries within the Caribbean community. A multidisciplinary approach is taken with stakeholders from the Health Ministry and Education Ministry collaborating to provide this comprehensive evaluation. Departments include speech therapy, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, psychology, social work, behavioral therapy, and stimulation. In this week's Education Spotlight, coordinator of the center, Keon Chung, shared that while some teachers are capable of assessing students with special needs, the new tool will guide them on how to effectively address and identify persons requiring special education needs.
Today, teachers, for those who've been engaged in doing ongoing assessments and really observing the children and monitoring their progress, have been able to identify, and recommend or suggest that, this child is not performing at grade level and so he or she should be screened. But more structured than that is a screening packet that the Ministry of Education is going to be launched, that is going to be launching soon, sometime in the new year, where teachers would be trained how to use this screening packet. So now we'd have an instrument to really guide them.
Persons can access services at the center through walk-ins, referrals from organizations, hospitals, or the school system. However, there is a backlog in the system owing to shortage of staff.
We do have a backlog indeed, and that is as a result of shortage of staff. So we were forced to end interviews for 2022 in August, because at August I had 80 persons waiting to come in. I don't have to tell you by now how much that has increased by, so anyone looking to access the services of the center right now will be given the date anytime after February of 2023.
At the center, construction is ongoing for the first ever sensory room, along with a pool to facilitate aquatic therapy to students with disabilities. Rupa Sinarayan, The Evening News.
And now for a look at the bridge reports.
There will be no closure of the Demerara Harbour Bridge on Saturday, October 29th, 2022. Meanwhile, the Berbice River Bridge is expected to be closed on Saturday, October 29th at 6 hours 40 for a period of 1.5 hours.
Anderson and Ned to play for West Indies Academy as Super 50 bowls off tomorrow. And John credits use of cycling knowledge after claiming 5 in 5. Details of these stories in the Sportscast, sponsored by Macorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Hi, my name is Jiren Softly, and I'm very excited to have G20 set up this fiber cable. As you can see, I'm young, so I'll be using this Wi-Fi, this internet, to be doing my everyday browsing and searching and, you know, just my homework and assignments, playing games, watching YouTube, you know, the regular stuff. I really enjoy this service. I think it's extremely great. And you also have like the free minutes, so for that, you know, if you're in trouble, you call your parents or someone.
It happens. Your septic tank is full. All the waste from your toilet goes into your septic tank through the sewage line. When your tank is full, the two most common indicators are an overflowing tank and an overflowing toilet. It is recommended that SOCU'S Waste Management empty your septic tank every 2 to 3 years to avoid any embarrassment. And before you can say, shh, it's gone. Call SOCU'S Waste Management today at 218-1455 or 218-1156.
Chara girl, you want milk? Sorry, I'm interrupting y'all.
Marla, I'm here taking the census.
Girl, you done got a husband already, huh?
Miss, I am a census taker, going door to door so that everyone can be interviewed and counted in the National Census 2022.
What is the census though?
Well, the Population and Housing Census is a count of the population and all the buildings every 10 years.
Getting counted transforms an entire nation.
From Region 1 to Region 10.
You know what? I believe our village needs a health center.
I think it needs some roads too. You see the man boots out there, how it's full of mud, eh?
That's why I'm asking Mrs. Da Silva a few questions from our questionnaire. We record the answers and then the data is used to help shape the future of the country.
Oh, so the two y'all not...
Oh gosh.
At John Lewis Styles, we carry only first quality men's and women's clothing, footwear, and accessories. As authorized dealers, our items come directly from the manufacturing brands and are available in all sizes and colors. What we sell was never on display in another store. It's time you know the truth about what you buy. Come visit us on Waterloo Street. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, SOCU, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.